Yes, Köln may be no strangers to causing problems to Bayern Munich, but no one complicates things more for Bayern Munich than themselves. This season alone, we had Neuer's injury on a skiing trip, Gnabry's trip to Paris causing a lot of drama, Topalovic fired, Neuer's best friend and goalkeeping coach, Julian Nagelsmann reportedly the driving force of that. Then the newspaper leaks as well that Nagelsmann was unhappy with. He was fired. He found out through social media as well. Thomas Tuchel took over for Der Klassiker. We had the Mane and Sané bust up too. And then all the situation that we've seen with the results on the pitch and leaving go of top spot as they have. This is why they get called FC Hollywood, Casey.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama at this club, and it's part of success, obviously, and the idea that you're supposed to win every match. And when it doesn't quite work out that way, there's a lot of finger pointing. But there's also, in the Bayern Munich hierarchy, there's a lot of decision makers, and you never quite know who's really making which decision. But it's always the manager's fault. And then, but to the point where the players themselves haven't helped fights with each other, going to, leaving camp to go somewhere where maybe you shouldn't probably be, injuring yourself on a ski trip. There's a lot of self-inflicted wounds.
Now, look, there's always been drama at Bayern Munich. Always. This is a big club with a lot of big personalities, a lot of power, a lot of people trying to get that power, trying to get a slice of the pie. Okay. But guess what? They were winning. And when you are winning, all that drama gets put away. People are not talking about it. We're not talking about it. It's not front page news. But because Bayern Munich are not winning on the field, that's why all these things become important. When you're not meeting expectation, that's why all of this matters. And now all of that is put together and you have a season of failures. A season of failures in Europe and a season of failures potentially domestically as well.
You talk about those failures. Obviously, when Nagelsmann was fired and Tuchel took over, they were still in 3 competitions. They are, of course, still in the Bundesliga competition today, but it isn't in their hands. Would it have been different if Nagelsmann hadn't been fired, Casey?
Well, potentially. I mean, it's impossible to tell, but things obviously weren't going well. Otherwise, they wouldn't have fired him. There's been situations going back for a couple years, and I was fortunate enough to do some interviews with some Bayern players and staff in the preseason, and I spoke to Oliver Kahn about the inability to keep clean sheets over the last couple years and the frustration that they've had in doing that. Well, they also had Lewandowski, who would score 40, 50 goals, and they went, I think, in that same time period, 40, 50 matches without having a clean sheet against them. So they've always been able to score goals. They've been able to make up the problems defensively by outscoring their opponents. Well, when that dried up, and then Neuer's out, and then Sommer comes in, and Sommer isn't able to maybe play as well as they hoped, but it's not the goalkeeping issue. There's something within the team where they're not playing as a team. You talk about the Hollywood side, there's a lot of individuals, and the managers have not, in the last couple, Nagelsmann, Tuchel so far, has not been able to get the concept of this is how we're going to play as a team. We're going to score goals, but we're also going to fight defensively. And because of that imbalance is where they've struggled.
Can he turn it around?
Well, not this season.
Obviously, in the new season.
I suppose you can, and I don't think you have a choice. If you're Bayern Munich manager, Bayern Munich player, once this season is evaluated and analyzed, it will be deemed a failure, regardless. And so, yeah, you imagine that there's going to be a reaction from Bayern Munich. But in terms of the Nagelsmann-Tuchel situation, if you were to describe Bayern Munich this season and you find just one word, you give me just one word to describe Bayern Munich, I would say inconsistent. And they have been that with Nagelsmann and with Tuchel. Both of them had the same issues. And I'm not going to sit here and make an argument for Julian Nagelsmann because I think there were things that he could have done better.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.